Everyone. I hope you all can hear me. I'm going to break a couple rules today and really break the mold. I think a lot of my other people on the Online X have been sitting during this during their presentations. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty full of sitting in front of my computer all day. So I thought I'd get up and get a bit of vertical inspiration. Next thing I'm going to do is also go against my good friend Andrew from Yuppie Chef's idea on not starting with a joke because you can't get any user feedback. So here goes. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for making time out of your really busy day to be with us on this first, at least for me, this first online expo. And I just want to apologize for the state of my ridiculous haircut. My wife has recently just failed her online barbering course that she was doing on YouTube, and this is what you're stuck with. Also, I'm a little bit ticked off. I had to put pants on for the occasion. My usual Zoom attire is business up top and party down below. So by way of introduction, I am Brett Perlstein, Managing Director and founder of SearchKings Africa, a chartered accountant by profession and a marketer by trade. I've always been incredibly passionate about small to medium-sized businesses and business owners alike in terms of helping them finding ways to unlock potential in their business, be it in accounting and now in marketing. So sorry guys, just having a bit of technical difficulties here. The famous composer Duke Ellington said, "I don't need time, all I need is a deadline." And this deadline began for our country on the 26th of March this year, when our courageous leader, Cyril Ramaphosa put us all into a nationwide lockdown. What did this lockdown do for our businesses? It made business owners scramble to find out new ways in which they can do business online, mobilize their staff to go remote, and ultimately hunker down to try and find ways to survive this, what is globally being considered and called a crisis. But guys, what happens if I told you that we could change our perspective and rather than see this as a crisis, see this as the greatest opportunity in our lifetime in a digital age? Instead of calling this a crisis, I'm going to go as far as calling this a gold rush. And this gold rush has begun with each business owner trying to stake their claim in this new normal we found ourselves in. We've learned two things since beginning this journey online. We've learned two things since sorry guys, my clicker has evaded me here. This is not ideal. We've learned two things since this pandemic has hit. One is the way in which we used to going to be the same ever again. And two, the way we were comfortable doing business previously may never ever be the same again. So the conversations we're having with our customers is twofold. One is, if you weren't advertising online, should you be rethinking that? And two, if you thought you weren't an online business, well, guess what? Now you are. So what has this COVID-19 disaster done globally? It has caused a great acceleration in digital transformation in almost every business. So what does this mean in a marketing sphere? Well, ultimately, this is not the time to cut your marketing, especially online. As more and more people spend time at home behind their computer screens, they're not currently being associated with the traditional marketing that we'll all be aware of in out-of-home and radio and TV. But digital has finally become the real only way for you to connect with customers, both new and existing. So why am I telling you this? We at SearchKings are a global Google Premier partner with over 3,000 customers around the globe in almost every industry. We're not a jack of all trades, but rather a master of one, choosing, instead of touching every marketing touch point in digital advertising, only focusing on paid Google advertising. So as Dennis said, I just wanted to share a little bit about my unique story. Being a chartered accountant by profession, I started off doing my articles right here in Cape Town, eventually getting a job opportunity to move to the US in New York. Whilst over there, I worked in the back office in a hedge fund, doing some pretty boring accounting stuff before I fell prey to what I now like to call a visa whoopsie. From this visa whoopsie, I had to head across the border into Toronto, Canada, where an immigration lawyer worked on my American dream. Whilst over there, I was lucky enough to meet my existing and long-standing tech and business partners, the founders from SearchKings. These guys had carved a beautiful niche out in the digital marketing space by helping small to medium-sized businesses carve out a way to connect with customers online, and do so by using a data-driven, cost per lead driven model. A really inspiring way in which business owners could learn how to unlock their true potential online. Having come from an accounting and advisory background, my passion for seeing businesses grow was immense. So after some changing of some personal and professional business goals, I hopped on a plane, brand and technology in hand, and the rest, as they say, is history. We came back and started a performance marketing agency. And we believe this performance marketing agency we have started is providing an assault on marketing as we know it. Marketing is no longer, guys, about pretty pictures and branding messages, but more than ever, it's about data. In saying this, we've taken a unique approach as an agency to hire people that don't come from marketing backgrounds, but rather data analytical backgrounds, with accountants, engineers, and even an MBA to boot. These guys live and breathe the numbers and make sure they're helping the customers we assist in understanding data better to drive smarter business decisions and bottom line growth. So now we're talking about the numbers. Let's dive into what we've been seeing thanks to our partners at Google, who've shared some really interesting insights with us in what's happened since the start of lockdown on the 26th of March this year. What we're going to go through here is some industries, some more obvious, some less obvious, and these are specific increases in search queries that have happened on Google's platform since the beginning of lockdown on the 26th of March. Personal and business loans, search queries are up by 9,000%. This one relatively obvious as people struggle to make ends meet and businesses look for solutions to help bridge their cash flow. Food packing and delivery. These queries up by 5,500%. As people at home, I know myself, I've just had a newborn. I am circumspect about going to the shop, and I am ensuring that I get all my daily essentials delivered to my house. This one, as a husband and partner, I'm sure some of you out there can relate. DIY and renovation queries up by more than 3,000%, where I'm getting hunted by my wife to get to all those around the house jobs that I've been meaning to get to on my to-do list for the last 10 years. And then the last obvious one, storage for both personal and business. As we spend more time at home and look to potentially downsize our offices, we're looking for that little bit of extra space and a place to put those unnecessary things around the home. Then I think what is quite interesting is the ones that are less obvious. In an industry that, is perceived to be decimated by this COVID-19 crisis, second-hand car vehicles inquiries are up by over 900%. This is a really interesting one as we consider those people who are riding in public transport may rethink about how they're going to get to work once this lockdown is ended. And the last one, which is really, really interesting, is the increase in search queries in adventure and travel. With an industry that's been completely decimated by this COVID disaster, 350% increase in search queries have happened since the lockdown began, as people sit at home and aspirationally think about those once-in-a-lifetime trips they always wish to do. Next up is a platform that I'm incredibly passionate about. YouTube user engagement is up since the lockdown began from 17.9 million users to 21.7 million users in South Africa alone. This is a pretty amazing stat if you think about it. And what happens if I could tell you, you could reach 65% of South Africa's online population simply on this platform? Do you think this could spell the end of TV and radio as we know it? I spent some time yesterday looking at some industry commentary around the YouTube engagement increases. And I saw a very interesting piece by one of the godfathers of branding, Mr. Byron Sharp. He said, this is the first global ad-supported TV station ever to exist. And any business out there, no matter the size, can reach their branding goals simply due to this platform's accessibility and user volume. So now we've spoken about a bit of data. I thought I'd dive into some of the products available to you as a marketer or a business owner on the Google paid platform. The first one being YouTube, the one we just spoken about, which is Google's digital video solution to TV and radio advertising as we know it. The next is Google Search, or paid Google advertising on the homepage of Google. Think of this as your online marketing salesperson that never sleeps, never gets ill, never has to pick up the kids from school, but rather is always there in a potential customer's moment of intent and happy to answer any questions they may have about your business. Then we go onto the Google Display Network, a network of 2 million popular websites across the internet where you can get your brand in front of a targeted potential customer's eyeball as they surf the web. Think of this as your traditional print or out-of-home advertising. Then we look at Google My Business, your business' very own directory on Google, and an amazing way for you to connect with your customers as they look for goods and services locally on Google Maps. And the last one is Google Analytics, one where we've spent a lot of time and really passionate about, where all this information is housed and gives you, the business owner or marketer, the ability to understand who your audience is online, how they perceive your business, and how to make smarter business and marketing decisions. So now you've spoken about the data and some of the products. You're probably saying to me, well, how do I connect with these potential customers online? Well, what happens if I were to say to you that Google advertising flips marketing on its head? You no longer go looking for the customer, but rather they actively come looking for you, and they do so in their moment of intent. This is a pretty amazing way for you to find potential new customers online. But what we're telling our customers is the longer you're not there, the longer you're out of sight and out of mind. So I thought I'd share a bit of insight into what our portfolio across the globe looks like since this pandemic hit, or as I like to call it, this opportunity. What we're seeing is business owners and marketers brave enough to keep their marketing online have seen multiple things. One, cheaper than ever marketing costs. Two, greater brand reach for the same or smaller marketing budgets. Unbelievable frequency and brand reach across Google's display network on YouTube, and lower than ever customer acquisition costs. So as data dudes, what did we do is we spent some time corroborating this information during looking at the last ever financial crisis that happened in 2008. And what did we see? We read multiple Harvard business reviews, and ultimately the message that came out was brands and business owners who kept their marketing online during this financial crisis bounced back faster, had greater brand recall online, acquired customers even during these tricky times, and hit sales targets far quicker than their competition. Not only did they do that, but they also managed to eat into their competition's market share by ensuring they had a presence online during this downturn. So think about your online behavior, and do you think you're potentially missing an opportunity now? These case studies ranged from local construction businesses all the way up through to Starbucks. So a little bit of personal experience share. I was lucky to have my first son, Jamie, just 12 hours before this lockdown began. And I've donned him the last baby born in the free world. And I'm hoping one day to sell his story to Hollywood. But the interesting thing about this, and the message that I really want him to know, is that as he grows up and he learns and as he learns new tricks, all of us in this new normal are going to have to do that as well. Never before as a global event had such an impact on the world since World War II. And ultimately, the message I want to leave you here with, it's really about adapt or get left behind. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Heavy Chef model, but they're a great online podcast that they're a great online podcast that I highly recommend, and webinar series that I highly recommend that you check out. I was lucky enough to dial into the one on innovation, which was spearheaded by Robert Paddock. For those of you who don't know Robert Paddock, Rob is a serial tech entrepreneur and an amazing trailblazer in the South African edutech environment. He was the founder of a business called Get Smarter, which I'm sure all of you may know. And he sold that as one of South Africa's true unicorns for 1.4 billion rand in 2018. In his talk, he really, and Danny, I can see Danny's just popped in the chats to have a look for all of you to have a look at. He said one very interesting thing. COVID-19 isn't developing new trends, but rather accelerating existing ones at a rapid rate. So Google marketing. Well, everything I've told you today is not something new, but rather Google marketing has been around for ages. It's just now being one of the only avenues for you to access customers online, hyper relevant. I was also lucky enough last night whilst changing nappies at 3 a.m. to dial into Sundar Pichai, the CEO of the Alphabet Group's first quarter earnings sales call. Investors were incredibly worried as they saw marketing revenue in the group take a deep dive. And with the travel industry, one of the biggest spenders on the platform, pretty much turn their marketing off. What Sundar did say is that, yes, these were all trends that they saw from the beginning of March to the middle of April. But subsequently, in the last 14 days, they're seeing advertisers get back online and find new ways to innovate. And within 3 hours, the share price was up by 10%. So I wanted to leave you with, in a gold rush, I needed to leave you with 3 golden nuggets. Okay, the first one is we talk to 2 types of customers. Those business owners and marketers who've been too scared to advertise online. What we've done for you is, I can see Danny's popped it in the chat there. We've created a simple 5-step guide for you to think about how you future-proof your business and get ready to market it online. The second one is marketers who've actively started advertising online. During these tricky times, as I said, data is more important than anything. We've created a guide for you of 5 simple questions you should be asking yourself to see if you're getting the most out of your marketing. And lastly, as an Online X attendee, me and my 14 Google Ads experts are offering you a 30-minute free consultation with one of us to understand how best you can future-proof yourself for this new online normal we find ourselves in. And on that note, guys, I'm off to go and change some nappies. I have popped one last little bit of golden nuggets in there for you. There's one of my favorite YouTube stars, Ellen DeGeneres, and some basic home tips on how you can cut your hair at home. I'm going to hope to take advantage of some of them now. Thank you all so much for your time, and apologies for the technical difficulties. That was really interesting and a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed it. All the best.